that for the first time in my life, in my family's life, that we were dealing with spirits of drug addiction, alcohol addiction, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, and all kinds of chaos. And because things got worse and worse, and I began to spiral and go down a pretty bad road, I ended up failing that semester of nursing school, and that dream job started to look like nothing but a dream. The worst thing about all of this that me and my family were going through, and that I was personally going through, was that it didn't matter how much I cried, how much I prayed, I could not feel the presence of God in that situation at all. So I became angry, and I became bitter, and I became depressed. And that was probably the first time in my life I had ever experienced depression. I was in the bed more than I was out of the bed. I was crying more than I was smiling. I didn't even realize I was depressed. I just knew that there was something over me that I could not shake.
Right.
It went on until the summer, and I had a friend invite me to a missions conference at her church. I had never done missionary work before, but I decided to go to this missions conference for whatever reason. It was at that missions conference that God started to plant a seed in my life. None of my immediate family had ever been overseas. None of us had passports, and even if we did, we couldn't afford to go anyway. But I felt like that was something that God wanted me to get involved in. So when I was leaving the missions conference, my friend was helping me pack my luggage into my car, and I would always put my luggage in the back seat of my car. But for some reason, she put my luggage in my trunk. The first time in months I heard God speak to me, I was getting ready to move that luggage out of my trunk, and he said, leave it alone. It made no sense to me because I hadn't heard the voice of God in months, but he said, leave it alone. So I left it alone. I was kind of annoyed by it because I don't like my luggage in the trunk, but I left it alone. As I was driving back home and riding in my car, I began to talk to God, and I began to tell God, look, I don't know what I can do for you. I'm broke. I've lost all my scholarships. I failed the semester, but so long as you are with me, and so long as I can hear you and feel you, I'll do whatever you call me to do. It was not long after I prayed that prayer in my car that the window rolled down by itself. I didn't have a fancy car, I was broke, but the window rolled down by itself. And as soon as it rolled down by itself, smoke started coming into the car from the steering wheel, and then the car completely shut off. So I was on the far end of traffic, headed from Memphis, which is a busy highway. Smoke's coming into my car, the window's moving by itself, and my car has completely shut off. I somehow managed to drift to the shoulder of the car, and seconds after I got out of the car, that happened. My car caught completely on fire, and I thought to myself, I failed out of nursing school, I've lost my scholarship, my family's in turmoil, and now my car's on fire. God, what are you doing to me? But it was at that moment that I had felt peace for the first